What's up, meathead? Coach MANdler here, and in this video I'm going to discuss how to choose the right kettlebell weight for the particular goal that you've got with each one of your workouts. Now, the first thing you need to understand regarding how you go about picking the weight you're going to use for your workout is the fact that it's going to be determined by the goal you've got for said workout. Whether that goal is going to be maximal speed and explosiveness, strength, strength endurance, hypertrophy, or conditioning, all those are going to help you determine which weight is proper to use for that specific plan of action. So, first things first, you need to have a plan of action and you need to have a goal for each workout. Once you establish that goal and understand through trial and error what weights you're comfortable with, that is going to help you determine which weight is most suitable for that particular workout. All right, let's kick things off with how you go about choosing the right weight for developing speed and explosiveness. Let's say you're a fighter that wants to throw a knockout punch or be able to kick someone across the chin and knock their ass out. You need to have a high degree of rate of force development for that, all right? That doesn't happen by accident or through good genetics. You have to train your body to be able to increase the rate at which it can produce maximal force. And to do that, you have to utilize lighter weights, let's say between 30 to as heavy as 60% of a 1 rep max for any particular exercise, and lift that weight at a very fast rate with low volume. This is something that I learned from the West Side method, RIP Louis Simmons, and helps dramatically increase the rate at which your body is able to produce force. All right, so let's say you want really powerful hits. That might mean you choose a lighter weight on the kettlebell. Even though you can lift heavier, doesn't mean necessarily that you want to go heavier, and focus on snapping those hits as quick and powerfully as possible and keeping that volume at no more than, let's say, 6 reps. Again, the goal here is getting your body adapted to being able to move fast and forcefully. So the whole goal with that speed and explosiveness is to get your body to adapting to moving faster. And the way you're able to do that is picking lighter weights, like I said, in between that 30 and 60% of your max range, and doing so in a lower rep range, say 1 to 6 reps. That will help you adapt to moving faster, more explosively, and with great speed, and have that convert into some serious ass-kicking capabilities. Now, regarding being able to throw a knockout punch or kick, we discussed the importance of increasing the rate of force development and utilizing lighter weights with low volume to maximize the rate at which your muscle fibers are able to contract. Now let's talk about the other end of that equation and increasing the maximal force that each contraction is be able to produce. And you're able to increase force development by what? Lifting heavy ass weights. So when we're talking about increasing maximal strength, you have to focus obviously on lifting heavy weights. That means anything from, let's say, the 80% to as much as the 100% of your 1 rep max. Now, how do you accomplish that without hurting yourself? Number one, make sure you have a good warm-up in place and understand proper mechanics for each and every lift that you do. But two, you have to have a little bit of balls and trial and error. You need to understand your body's capabilities, have a little faith in yourself, not be afraid to go heavier than you might be used to, and remember that in order to get stronger, you have to lift heavy ass weights. So regarding how you go about building maximal strength, increasing the amount of force that your body can produce, then you have to stick in that 80 to 100% or 1 rep max range and be willing to go heavier than what you're typically used to. And that is through simple trial and error. You're going to have to find out what your limitations are. Just do so with good form always at the forefront of how you go about choosing the weight that you go about choosing. All right, so we discussed how to utilize a percentage of your 1 rep max in any given movement, as well as the right rep range is important to help you decide on which weight to use when speed and explosiveness is your goal, as well as how to kind of responsibly, through trial and error, find out how to pick the right weight for maximal strength. But let's say performance isn't your thing and you just want to get jacked as hell. You just want to build some lean, dense muscle. How do you choose a weight then? Well, you utilize the same principles when you thought up how to pick the right weight for speed and explosiveness. When hypertrophy is your goal, then time under tension should be the forefront of how you go about training for that goal. All right, and when that's the case, the best percentage that I can argue for is that kind of 60 to 80% of your 1 rep max in any given movement that you're going to be doing. And when you pick the right weight, it's going to be in that 8 to 15 rep range. So again, what you do is you figure out which movement that you want to utilize to help you build muscle in that particular exercise. You understand your limitations and how strong you are with that movement, and you pick the right weight based on a little bit of common sense and trial and error. And this will come through time and experience in the gym. So don't overthink this. Just try to keep it to where you're in that 8 to 15 rep range, and towards the end, you're kind of getting closer and closer to that failing point. Just remember, even at the end of that set, when you're close to failure, you want to make sure that your form is still crisp so that you don't compromise your health and risk injury. Okay, so we know that utilizing light weights and low volume with high rates will help increase your rate of force development for speed and explosiveness. We understand that heavy weights in that 80 to 100% of your max will help you build maximal force. We know that 60 to 80% of your 1 rep max for 8 to 15 reps will help you get jacked as hell, build muscle for hypertrophy. But what about what it takes to find the right weight for conditioning? Let's say your goal with utilizing kettlebells is just to get ripped up or improve your overall aerobic capacity. Just get in better shape, if you will, all right? When that's the case, you're going to have to learn to extend whatever sets you're doing or whatever circuit you're doing so that you keep your heart rate elevated and don't have to worry about your weight being the limiting factor for your form as much. And when that's the case, you obviously have to utilize a lighter load. Okay, so here's a scenario that really paints the picture of the point I'm trying to make. Let's say my goal for a workout that I'm doing today is going to be really improving my overall aerobic capacity as well as burn off more calories so I can lean up a little bit. And I'm going to utilize kettlebell swings as my chief tool within that workout. Now, how do I go about utilizing the right weight? I can typically do heavy kettlebell swings with as much as 123 pounds with good form. But if I understand that proper conditioning rep ranges are north of 15 reps and as much as, let's say, 30 reps that you would do in like a time set, obviously your form will be compromised if you're utilizing a heavier weight. So what you do is obviously take that into account and make sure that you've got a weight that you can do proper form with throughout the entirety of that set. So instead of doing the heavy set with that 123 pounds, I'll choose probably 53 pounds so that that last rep has as crisp a form as possible, or at least won't put me in harm's way where I might, have any issues with my back kind of stabilizing it. So where I'm going with this is make sure that you take into account the higher volume and keeping your spine in a secure, insulated position when utilizing these higher rep ranges that are synonymous with conditioning and helping you elevate your metabolism for more of the fat loss effect. So if you are going to utilize these, make sure that you err on the side of caution and go lighter than you might think is necessary. All right, so at the end of the day, it's really not all that complicated to figure out which weight that you need to use for each one of your workouts. First, you gotta start with understanding what goal you have for your workout. Second, you need to have a good idea as to what your max is in whatever exercise you're gonna be using in that workout so you can institute percentages of that max. And third, you gotta have a little bit of common sense and trial and error when it comes to figuring out which weight range is going to be best based on the reps you do for each one of the types of fitness that you're going to have as your goal. All right, so institute those, and I can promise you, you're not going to have near as much difficulty figuring out which weight you utilize for each one of the workouts that you do.
Hey man, thank you so much for checking out today's video. If you enjoyed it and want me to share more like it that help to inspire new training ideas, then do me a solid and hit the thumbs up button so I know you're digging the content I'm sharing with you. Subscribe and hit the alert icon so you get notified the instant that I drop new workouts every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And lastly, don't leave without first grabbing your free copy of the Kettlebell Cardio Blueprint that I put together for you by clicking on either the image that you see right over there to the right or the pin link at the very top of the comment section down below. Appreciate your time, guys. Have a good one. MANdler out.